Chapter 25. Enemies and Allies United.
That's way faster than running in wolf form.
Joseph said with a skip in his step, happy that he doesn't need to break a sweat to get to where he want.
Gotta love teleportation.
Penelope had teleported them all to the edge of the Shadow Moon Pack's territory in the wood, since they didn't want to scare the pack members. Ryu, who, looking a bit green, gave Joseph a smile, but it was more of a grimace as he did not enjoy teleportation. Not one bit.
Well, I think you're the only one who enjoys that, son.
Harry, who was looking a bit green himself, patted Joseph's shoulder. Behind them, the others nodded at what Harry said. Penelope skipped towards Joseph, who was looking at his father with a bemused expression, and linked her arm with his. "Don't listen to your old man, dear Joseph. Teleportation is the best ability you can ever have, and I might say that little teleporting things to places is quite something too, yes," Penelope said as she dragged Joseph further away from the group by their linked arms. "But what if I say you can enhance that?" Penelope said with a smirk. Joseph looked at her with a conflicted expression.
Yeah, wish I could. Teleporting countless of objects at once or just big and heavy things had already made me weak till I can't even stand. How am I going to teleporting a human being to places without fainting?
That's because you had set a limit in your mind. Sure, maybe other hybrids may faint or even die if they're crossed that limit, but... She turned and placed her hands on his shoulder. "You're a son of a royal werewolf and a royal vampire. Being born with royal blood from both parties had already made you way stronger than other hybrids." Penelope smiled at Joseph's doubtful face. She raised one of her hand and tapped his forehead with it. "That limit in your mind can be broken, but only by you, Joseph. Believe in yourself, Josh. You're more powerful than you know." With that, Penelope walked away. Joseph stood there watching Penelope's silhouette getting smaller and smaller. Then he was tapped on the shoulder. He spun around and his lips landed on something soft and warm. Breathe in deeply of that burned ash that his mate carries and smiled into the kilt. After a few more peck, Joseph pulled away and was greeted with a blinding smile from Ryu.
What was that for?
Ryu shrugged.
Just because.
Ryu walked closer and snaked his arm around Joseph's waist, which Joseph commented on.
What's with you and your obsession with my waist?
He gave Ryu a teasing side glance. Ryu wriggled his eyebrows.
Because it's tiny and my arm fits perfectly around it.
Joseph laughed at the funny eyebrows dance with a hint of red on his cheek.
You're so cheesy. Only for you.
Ryu said and pecked his cheek. They started following the others, who started walking through the woods in the same position.
So what did you and Madame Penelope talk about just now?
Joseph shrugged.
Nothing much. Just that she thinks I can enhance my abilities because of my bloodlines.
Ryu pinched his waist, which made Joseph yelped. He turned to glare at Ryu, but he was met with a fond smile, and his glare softened.
Believe in yourself, Joseph,
he said, and laid a kiss on his forehead. Joseph blushed.
You cheesy pizza.
Ryu laughter rang through the woods at that comment. When they arrived at the pack house, there were dozens of werewolf, both shifted and not, waiting for them. Alex and Henry at the front line with a smile.
You know,
Alex started when Randolph was closed enough.
When you said you'll be back soon, I didn't think you meant you'll be here in just a few seconds. Benefits of traveling with a teleporting sorceress.
Randolph laughed.
Though, I prefer running. Teleportation feels like my stomach's doing a difficult quad jump.
Alex laughed.
Well,
He was interrupted when Henry growled beside them along with some of the wolves.
what are they doing here?
Alex growled when he saw the vampires walk out from the woods. The wolves were crouching low and was ready to pounce if they made a wrong move. The constant growlings was attracting more and more pack members out from their house to investigate, and soon a crowd had formed around them. Randolph quickly intervenes before blood would be shed.
It's okay.
Randolph said as he stood in front of the vampires.
They're allies. Oh, yeah? And why should we trust them? They've been killing us for years and showed no mercy.
Henry growled. He then pointed at Lisiani.
He had attacked our pack once. Who says he won't do it again? I know you're angry. I was too. They were following orders at the time that was given directly by the Vampire King. They can't go against him, as you and I know how ruthless the Vampire King is. But they had gone against the Vampire King's orders to fight for themselves, to protect their loved one.
Randolph turned and nodded at Ryu. Ryu nodded back and tightened his hold around Joseph's waist.
We werewolves can live in peace with the vampires. It's only our mindset that prevents us from it. For thousands of years, we had fought against each other, and what's better than stop all this bloodshed with peace? The perfect proof of peace between our kinds is standing right here.
Randolph turned and pointed at Joseph.
He's born with a werewolf father and a vampire mother. His parents were mates.
That statement drew gasps from the werewolves.
Heck, even his mate is a vampire. This further proves my point. Would the moon goddess pair our two kinds together if we can't tolerate each other? She wouldn't, would she? No, she won't.
Harry said loudly, and Randolph smiled at him.
But that peace will not happen as long as the current Vampire King sits on his throne and we can't defeat him with our own. But they
Randolph waved at the vampires.
They had lived with the king. They had interact him on daily basis and know every nook and cranny of his castle. They will be one of our key to peace. If we win, not only our two kind will finally have peace after years of pointless fighting, other kinds will too have the peace and freedom they deserve. So what do you say? Can we give them another chance?
Randolph looked around, and his gaze connected with both his father and Ramona. They both gave him a thumbs up and blinding smiles. Alex looked doubtful, but agreed. Henry grumbled about it, but still agreed, nothing less. Alex and Henry walked towards the vampires, and Alex outstretched his hand to Lisiani. Lisiani took the hand in his, and they shook hands.
We may be allies now, but that doesn't mean I should like you. As long as that bastard can no longer sit on that throne, I'm willing to go through anything. Great, glad we share a common idea.
After that, the crowd dispersed and went back to do whatever they were doing before the crew arrived. Randolph patted Lisiani's shoulder.
Don't mind what he said. He's a hard ass on the outside, but he's a fluffy wolf on the inside. He warm up to ya.
Lisiani smirked, then he looked at Randolph.
Why did you not hate us like them? Pardon? You're the pack alpha? Alpha, right? We attack your pack and your territory. How are you fine with it?
Randolph chuckled.
Well, the reason Bethany approached me is because she has a mission to kill me.
Lisiani looked at him incredulously, and Randolph laughed at the expression.
But under orders, of course, orders of their uncle no less. But that's it. It's an order, and you can't go against that. But she did. So did you.
Randolph glanced at Lisiani.
You went against your father's orders to save the person you love. What difference does you and Bethany have in terms of that?
Randolph turned to him, fully.
If I can forgive Bethany just like that, why can't I do that with you?
Lisiani looked at Randolph with a different light. He may be young, but he's still an alpha, a wise one at that.
You're different than you look. Thanks, I get that a lot.
Randolph patted his back.
Come on, let's find Jason Valerie and make some plans.
Ramona found Valerie in the kitchen helping Emma and some others to cook dinner. Hey, Valerie, Mum. Ramona hugged Valerie and gave Emma a kiss on the cheek. Hey, you're back. That was fast, Emma said. Madam Penelope was with us. Ramona made a face at the teleportation reminder. Ah, Emma chuckled. So, what's bring you to the kitchen? You usually cook lunch instead of dinner. I'm here for Valerie, actually. Valerie looked up from her cutting. Me? Yes, both you and your brother. We need your help on something. Okay. Valerie nodded and placed the knife on the chopping board and wiped her hand on a nearby tablecloth. But first, we need your brother. Where is he? He said he was tired after a play fight with some of the members, so probably in his room taking a nap? Ramona smiled. Thanks. Meet us at the meeting room. I'll be there soon with your brother. Valerie smiled while nodding and walked off. Ah, Valerie, how have you adapted to your human body? Penelope asked once she saw Valerie walked into the meeting room. Quite fine, but I kind of forgot some of the human way of doing stuff, like buying stuff from the store instead of going to the woods and hunt, Valerie said with a pout. Penelope giggled. Darling, you'll be fine. You just have to give it more time. Okay. Then Ramona walked in with a sleeping Jace following behind. Found him,
Found me.
Jace yawned. So what kind of help do you need from us? Valerie asked once they have all taken a seat. We need you to sneak into the vampire's territory to give this to Bethany and Sebastian every 12 hours. That woke Jace up completely.
And how are we going to do that? We are huge. We'll get shoot the moment we cross into their territory.
That's what I'm about to tell you, Penelope said. Jace, Valerie, remember Bruja said she'll do some background check for you? Well, you two are from a long line of Kitsune. Your grandmother was a half Kitsune and half human, but your parents were ordinary humans. You two was supposed to be the same as them, but the experiment those people did on you awakened your dormant Kitsune gene, and thus you two have the abilities of Kitsunes. Always knew Grandmama was too agile for someone of her age, Valerie grumbled. Penelope, who heard the comment, chuckled.
So how do we shift back to our fox form?
Jace asked. That's a hard one, since your Kitsune form was forced out of you last time, so it was easier. But now you have to channel it out by yourselves, so it'll be harder. Jace and Valerie pouted at that.
Hard, but not impossible,
Harry said. Yes, with time, shifting will be like breathing to you. Valerie and Jace nodded at that. Then Jace perked up.
Does Kitsunes have abilities or something?
Oh yes, Kitsunes are either fire attribute or lightning attribute. But I don't know which attribute you two are, sorry. It's okay, Valerie smiled. Other than that, Kitsunes judge their power by the number of their tails. The more the tail, the stronger the Kitsune is, but you have to earn them. That's how they increase the number of their tail. Jace and Valerie nodded, letting the information sink in. What else? If I remember correctly, a Kitsune tail can grant a wish by cutting them off, but beware, Penelope said as she pointed at them sternly. Once you cut off a tail, you'll never gain them back. Once all your tails are gone, you'll be too. Jace and Valerie gulped and nodded.
Okay, now that's done. Time to make a plan. After that, everyone get a good night's sleep. We'll start training tomorrow,
Harry said. They all nodded. It's gonna be a long day tomorrow.